All right, hello. Welcome to day 10 of my speaking to a camera. Uh, not it's not really a challenge. It's a sort of practicing. So today, this came in the mail yesterday. It is my college degree. So I wanted to talk today about college and the experience of college. Um, you know, was it worth it? Um, I don't know. I guess it depends who you ask. Was it worth it for me? Um, I don't really know. I think I'd probably be 4 years ahead in my programming career if I had not gone to college, but at the same time, I might not have landed here if I did not go to college. Um, college is like for me, a transitory middle ground between the end of high school and the start of real life, but I feel like college isn't really real life just yet. Um, it's like in between. But it also depends about your background, where you come from. Maybe your real life started a while ago. Mine didn't really start until the end of college because in college, it's just like a extended This is how I saw it. I saw it as an extended high school. Um, you just go to class whenever you want, and your grades, like, I don't know, I didn't really care about that. Um, they say C's get degrees, and that was like kind of basically my attitude in college. Um, I joined a fraternity my first year. I thought that that was gonna fill some kind of, I guess, like a hole or like a network. I swam in high school, and I made extremely close friends that I actually live with right now. All those morning practices and getting up early and just, suffering for years on end, it forges bonds that can't be forged in other places. And so when I joined this fraternity, I thought that that was gonna be that bond that I formed, but it it's not. It can't It can't compare to years and years of suffering. It's a club, and you join it, and people and everyone's cool in there, but you literally you can't get that you can't get that same bond from sports, or at least I couldn't, anyways. You definitely can, just not for me. So joining a fraternity was a pretty cool experience. Do I recommend Greek life? Depends, right? There's some people who don't seem like typical Greek life people who go through it and they become, um, you know, this like perfect, uh, product of Greek life, where basically they become a lot more social. They organize events. They are just different people from when they first started. So I do think there's a lot of potential for it to change you. Um, but it you get out of it exactly what you put in um i- into Greek life, right? No one forces you to do anything. You can half-ass everything, and you're technically part of Greek life, but it really is as much as you put into it, and I did not put a lot into it at all, which is why I didn't get much out of it. And I think the same can be said for college as well. Um, you get as much of it as you put into it. And so, I like to complain about college and how it's stupid. In all honesty, I didn't really put much into it, so I didn't really get much out of it. I started really putting in, I started putting putting into college my last semester or like my last year, kind of when I realized like, oh, this is like literally all for nothing if I'm not actually trying. Um, it's supposed to be a place where you build skills and knowledge, and if you don't take it seriously, then you're not getting as much out of it as you could. And with that being said, of course, there's this whole, like, not a whole controversy, but, a big realization that, like, oh shit, jobs that require this college degree, when you actually start working in that job, there's very little of what you learned actually being applied. And I've talked to several people about my age about this, and it seems to be true. This girl, she had an environmental science degree, and she got a job as an environmental scientist, and there was basically her job is that there's this like huge swamp, and they have to put in these like sticks into the ground and like measure stuff like that. And I asked her, I was like, so this is like actually manual labor? You're just putting sticks in the ground, and she was like, yes, it is. You just need a degree for it. Which is confusing because like, why would you pay a scientist to do something that easy? Um, and there's also another story. Actually, coincidentally, I'm wearing a shirt that um, is part of this story. I worked for a company building spectrometers. They're scientific instruments. They're basically lasers, and they collect data on samples. So they use like photonics. So Thor Labs makes optics for this. And I got hired at the same time as a guy who was, I think, 2 years older than me, and he had a master's degree in photonics, which is a pretty niche scientific field. And at the time, I was finishing up my philosophy degree, and after I think like 3 months, he got fired, and I basically assumed all his responsibilities. And I was like, what the? And like, why did he get fired? Boss said he was useless, and that like struck a chord with me because I was like, holy shit, this guy spent 6 years getting a degree in this field that I'm working in which I have no degree, and he sucks and he got fired. And so I was like, Jesus, like what, like, I mean, essentially, it probably just comes down to being a good employee. So I think being a good employee is more important than whatever your theoretical knowledge is about photonics. Um, so that was just kind of weird. I was like, bro, you just wasted like 6 years, and now I'm I've moved up I think I worked there for like about a year and a half in total, and yeah, I moved up pretty well in there. Just I don't know, just like being a good employee. Um, this guy would like come into work and then just be on his computer and basically wait for people to like tell him to like do things. And then when he would be done with those things, he would go back to his computer on his office. And we got hired at the same time, so like I knew he wasn't getting any emails or there wasn't any important work to be done on the computer, so I don't really know what he was doing. But in the end, I think that led to him being fired, right? Because people hire you and they're expecting you to put in work and to contribute to the company's bottom line, and he didn't do that, and so he got fired. Um, and talking to my mom and my dad and there's other people who have been in the workforce for a long time. They talk to me about these people who get hired and then they like literally don't do anything, or they do like the bare minimum, and then other people have to pick up the slack. And then there's also talk of like quiet quitting and things like that, and just people not working well or hard. And I think that is um, kind of sad. Like your work isn't your life, but you should still take pride in your work and produce good work because, well, I guess if you don't tie any importance to your work, then of course you wouldn't care. Um, but I just think that's a bad idea to be a bad employee or to at least not try to be a good employee because I don't know, it just seems like a normal thing to do. Like craftsmen, people in like ancient society, or they would have like pride in their work and that made great big, like humanity made great big leaps and bounds. And I think if people just work bare minimum and just like, be C students, that's not good. And that's ironic because I was a C student in school, but as I grew older, saw and realized that you probably should take pride in your work. All right, thanks.